Tonight I want to talk to you about the process of demotivation. This is a process wherein people act as the it. I took a class many years ago while I was working in a doctoral program at Gonzaga from a corporate executive in the Midwest who described his unofficial job title as the hatchet man. And what he did is he destroyed people. He worked in this large company in the Midwest where they couldn't fire, they had a strong union, they couldn't fire individuals, so he'd come in and do his magic to get people to quit. And he described this to us as a class, not so that we'd go out and demotivate anyone, but so that we would learn how to combat it when it happened to us in our own lives. And there were 5 steps in the process of demotivation. Step number 1 is the creation of conflict. Now, the way that I create conflict in a person's life is to call their competence into question. And if I'm going to call somebody's competence into question, what I would do is I would say, Karen, as your supervisor, I've just noticed that you're really not very good at your job. Matter of fact, you're so incompetent, I would recommend that you go work somewhere else. Now, if I were to say that to you, your typical response would be that you would be hurt, your feelings would, you'd feel dejected, and you'd move into step number 2, which is what we call self-directed anger. So you're feeling bad about about my statements towards you, and you come to me and you want to discuss it with me, and you say, look, I'm trying hard, I'm really working at this job, I like it, and if I just had some direction, perhaps I could do better. Now see, but you don't understand that I'm trying to demotivate you or get rid of you. So my response to that is, well, Karen, there's just really no point in you trying to do anything different because you're just not getting it here, and you just will go work somewhere else. And at that point, you move into what we call loss of hope. And as my teacher said, we can live without love, we can live without a lot of things, but we cannot live without hope. Once your hope is gone, then you move down into step number 4, which is depression. Or depending upon your personality, you might also rebel. But either one, I'm going to use it against you, because if you're depressed, you're going around like you're dragging a big anchor chain, and you're coming late, you're leaving early, which I point out to you, and how dare you offer any kind of insubordination, because I'll just tell you I do not have to put up with your attitude. And as a result of that depression, then you move down into step number 5, which is self-destruction. And that could take many forms. You could go get drunk, you could use drugs, you could drive your car into a tree, you might even slash your wrist, but you'll do anything that you can to get away from me. And as my teacher said, this always worked. But there is a way out. When I was working on my little master's degree down at University of Utah about 1907, we took a class called Forensic Social Work, where they taught us to be expert witnesses in court. And this class was taught by an attorney. And this attorney indicated to us that this is the process that you're taken through when you're being cross-examined on the witness stand. And as he described the way out, the thing that he said, in order to beat the process of demotivation, you must continually affirm your own competence. And I had an opportunity, actually several opportunities, to put this into practice. I was testifying in a child custody suit in Spokane, and I gave my little testimony, and the attorney for the other side, who was a 9-foot tall black man with a white afro about this big, stood up and he said, "Doctor, I would like to ask you a few questions." Then he apologized and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're not a doctor, are you?" As I held on to my chair, I thought, no, here we go through the process of demotivation. But as we carried through with this process, I continually said to myself under my breath, "I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay." And when he said, "Wouldn't you agree that because of the limited amount of time that you've spent with these people, that your testimony has no validity whatsoever?" To which I responded, "I believe my testimony does have validity and I stand by it." And because he could not take me down through this process of demotivation, he dismissed me and never did ask me a question about the case itself. And just moved on to the next witness and demotivated them. And this is a process that takes place often in the workplace, even in family or marital relationships. And I think that demotivators, for the most part, are not trained to do it. They just do it naturally. But my challenge to you is when you're faced with this demotivation, continually affirm your own competence.